Now we come to what is called Qaza and Qadar. Many people ask us that though we are Baba lovers, we have to suffer quite a lot. And those people who are dishonest, who are crooked in their ways, they become prosperous. Why is this? So Baba has explained that in God Speaks as Qaza and Qadar. Now what are these terms? Qaza means accidental happenings in the world, and Qadar is destined occurrences. Now what is the difference? When the original whim, who am I, came out, then all the drop souls that came out of the beyond state of God, they were destined finally to become one with God. So, what all that drop soul experiences right from the gaseous form until he comes back and merges into the original state of God, in the I am God state of the seventh plane, all that has happened in his lifetime is his destiny. And in this huge life, right from the gaseous state till he becomes one with God, that is his destiny. Now, you see that in some people are born blind, some are born lame, some are born with extreme poverty, and all sorts of things that we see in this world. Why is this? Why is it that some people are born with silver spoons in their mouth? Why is this? Is God unjust? No. God is not at all unjust. So, why is this differentiation? So Baba says that the destiny of everyone is the same. Right from the gaseous state till he becomes God realization, gets God realization or merges into God, whatever he has to suffer or enjoy is exactly the same for every drop soul. Supposing he has to enjoy 100 tons of enjoyment and suffer 100 tons of suffering, this is always constant for everyone. There can be no change in that. But then, in each different life, that drop soul, in some lives he might be having more joys, in some he may be having less joys, in some he may have suffering more. But the sum total of all the sufferings and the sum total of all the joys in the different lives, right up till he gets God realization or merges into God, the sum total of all these joys will be exactly the same as everyone in the whole world. So, destiny is what is destined for each individual drop soul. But Qaza is the working out of this destiny in different lives, and therefore the sum total of the Qazas of all the different lives becomes the same as destiny. Now, since we are Baba lovers, do you think Baba is going to change our destiny? No. Baba is never going to change anyone's destiny except under exceptional circumstances. But that also Baba says that if the avatar does change the destiny of someone, even that change is predicted already in Qaza. So, in the original Qaza. So, therefore, the avatar never interferes with anything. Now, supposing you're to meet with an accident, do you think Baba is going to prevent that accident? He might warn you. But even after the warning, you will go and do that action and you'll meet with an accident. But then what happens is, then he will give you immediate relief. You will get immediate help. Your stay in hospital will become short. You will not have to suffer much. You will not have any after effects of the accident. All this the avatar gives you out of his love and compassion. So, though the accident you cannot avoid, yet the suffering becomes much less, and he gives you the strength to bear that suffering. Now some people ask us, are there any other worlds where there is human population or where there is life? Baba in God Speaks has said that there are 18,000 other worlds where there is life. I said life and not human beings. And Baba said that scientists will one day find out this, that there is life on 18,000 other planets. Now, what about human life? Baba said human life is present only on 3 planets. One is the earth and 2 others. And scientists will also find this out one day. Now, what is the advantage of being born on this earth? Baba says that on this earth, every individual has 50% mind and 50% heart. There should always be a balance between the heart and the mind. Then the person can advance. But in those two other worlds, in one world there is 100% mind, and in the other world there is 75% mind and 25% heart. So, all of these cannot get God realization. They have to be born on this earth, because God realization is possible only on this earth. And without that, they cannot get God realization on those other worlds. Now, when the avatar comes, we see that there is a explosion of the population. Why is this occurring? Why does the population increase in this world when the avatar comes? Why? It is because those souls who are in the other two worlds with 100% heart, mind, or 75% mind and 25% heart, they all want to get God realization, and therefore many are born on this earth. Now, these people are highly intellectual people, and so when the avatar comes, these highly intellectual souls from those other two worlds come over here, and therefore you will see that science, art, there is progress in every field, in medicine, in every way, tremendous strides of advancement, because it is these highly intellectual souls who have come from those other worlds onto this earth. And therefore, that is why the population of the earth also increases. So, when the avatar comes, there is always a population explosion. Now we come to what is called the avatar suffering. There are different types of suffering that the avatar undergoes. Now, does a perfect master ever suffer? Baba says a perfect master is a person who is man become God, while the avatar is God become man. So, when a perfect master who is man become God, he falls ill, then he actually acts or behaves as if he has fallen ill. He cannot fall ill because God cannot fall ill. He is man become God, and therefore he cannot fall ill. So he just pretends that he is ill. While the avatar is God become man, and therefore he actually falls ill. That is the difference between the suffering of a perfect master and that of an avatar. The perfect master just acts or behaves as if he is very ill, but yet actually he is not feeling the pain or anything of that suffering, while the avatar actually feels that suffering. So, the avatar suffers in three different ways. One, physical; second, mental; and third is spiritual. Now, what is physical suffering? We saw that Baba used to go into seclusions. Baba took up silence. He met with accidents. These are all physical sufferings. Now, why does he have these physical sufferings? Baba says, because he takes upon himself the fruits of our unnatural sanskaras, and that is why he suffers. Now, this is the physical suffering, and I've seen Baba, as a medical man, I've seen Baba suffering physically, and it really brought tears to my eyes. Now, there is something called mental suffering. What is this mental suffering? Baba has a universal mind, and this universal mind is one with your mind. So whatever you suffer, physically or mentally, Baba has to suffer the same, because his mind is just the same as yours. And therefore Baba says, don't worry, be happy. If we are happy and we don't worry, then at least in us we have reduced Baba's mental suffering. And therefore it is the duty of every Baba lover to remain always happy, because by doing so we are reducing the mental suffering of Baba. Then the third one is spiritual suffering. The avatar suffers spiritually also, and this is because of the pseudo-saints or the false saints that abound in India and abroad. Now, people bow down to these false saints and they take up the sanskars of these devotees. But then they don't have the capacity to digest these sanskars of the disciples, and therefore they have to suffer a lot. So, the spiritual suffering, Baba takes upon himself the suffering which those pseudo-saints or those false saints should have suffered. So you can now imagine how much suffering the avatar has, physical, mental and spiritual. We just can't imagine. We only see the physical aspect of suffering, and that also not completely. But yet the mental suffering and the spiritual suffering is beyond our imagination. Now we come to what is called the 5 spheres. Now what are these 5 spheres? The 5 spheres are the gross, the subtle, the mental, the composite and the real. These are the 5 spheres. Now, this gross sphere, it contains all the universes, the suns, the stars, the galaxies, everything is contained in the gross sphere. And this gross sphere is dependent on the subtle for its existence. Then we have the subtle sphere, which depends on the mental world and is independent of the gross world. Then we have the mental sphere, which is dependent on divinity, or sustained by divinity, and it is absolutely independent of the subtle and the gross. So now we have the gross, subtle and the mental. Then what is the composite sphere? And what is the real sphere? Now, to understand this, try and understand what I say here is that the mental sphere is the mind. And that contains the intellect, the intuition, the illumination, and also the 5th and the 6th planes. The subtle world, or the subtle sphere, is the plane of energy, and it contains the 1 to 3 planes on the involution process. The gross world, Baba says, is just a speck compared to the subtle sphere. So the gross sphere is so very small compared to the subtle sphere. Now, the composite sphere, what does it contain? It contains 21 subspheres. So if you write down from top to bottom, gross, the subtle sphere, the mental sphere, the composite sphere, and the real sphere. Try and write this down so that I cannot show you in a chart form, and therefore, if you had to write this down, the 5 different spheres from top to bottom on your page, then on the left side of that, between the gross and the subtle, you can write the 7 lower subspheres. Then between the subtle and the mental, the 7 middle subspheres. Then between the mental and the real, you have the 7 higher subspheres. So, these subspheres, which you have written on the left side, what do they contain? The 7 lower subspheres contain 7 sub-gross spheres and sub-subtle between the gross and the mental spheres. The 7 middle spheres contain the 7 sub-subtle spheres and the sub-mental between the subtle and the mental spheres. And the 7 higher spheres, they contain the 7 sub-mental and the sub-supramental between the mental and the real spheres. This may be a little difficult to understand, but in short, the composite sphere is formed of 21 subspheres, the lower, the middle, and the higher. So, the spirits, the souls in heaven and hell, the angels, these are all between the 7 lower and the 7 middle composite spheres. The archangels are between the 7 middle and the 7 higher spheres. And then, of course, you have the real sphere, which is the sphere of carnalization. So, we have seen what are spheres. Now, we come to an aspect which many Baba lovers, especially the old Baba lovers, they feel that though they have been with Baba for many, many years, they have not gained anything. They seem to be just the same as before. And they worry about it. So Baba gave a beautiful example of that, in which he said that supposing there is a room which is closed for a long time, and it's all dust has accumulated in that, and then you go inside and open up the doors and the windows and start sweeping. Most of the dust will go out of the doors and the windows, but a certain amount of dust will remain suspended in the air in the room. And after you stop sweeping also, after some time, that dust which is suspended in the air, in the room, will settle, and then the room will seem very clean and nice. So similarly, when the avatar comes, he sweeps the sanskaras from our mind, and therefore we feel at times that even after going to Baba, we seem to be getting very bad thoughts and feelings and things like that. And we worry that we have gone to Baba so many years, and why do we get such bad thoughts? This is because Baba is the divine sweeper of our sanskaras. He sweeps all these sanskaras up and he removes them, so that one day you will know that how much you have gained from this sweeping. Now, I remember once one man came to Meherazad and asked the Mandali, how many years have you been here? And somebody said 30 years, and somebody said 40 years. And then he asked another question and said, what have you gained in these 30 and 40 years? So they couldn't give a proper reply to it. And then afterwards he said, if you've been here with Baba for 30 and 40 years and you cannot give a reply what you have gained, then it's better that you leave Baba and go away. And then that gentleman left. So naturally the Mandali were very upset about this. And they were wondering what they had gained in all the years of things that they had lived with Baba. Soon after, Baba arrived, and Irwin was interpreting Baba's gestures, and he was making mistakes. So Baba asked him, how is it today? Your mind is not in your work today. You're making mistakes. He says, yes, Baba. Then why? What's happened? So he says, Baba, one gentleman had come and he had asked us what we have gained in all these years with you, and we just couldn't give him a reply. So do you know what Baba replied? He said, the question that gentleman put was wrongly put. He should have said, what have you lost during all these years? Not what you have gained during these years. If he had asked you what you have lost during these years, then you could have given a very long list that you have lost your family, your friends, your money, your attachment to the world, the sex and this and that, and made a huge list. So Baba says, don't worry about your progress on the spiritual path. We are Baba's and Baba is ours. And Baba is doing that cleaning up job of a divine sweeper, and we shouldn't worry on that score. Remember, Baba had warned us that after he drops his body, there will be 77 false messiahs. So please beware of these people. Then we come to Baba's status of the highest of the high. As I have told you, there are always 55 perfect masters, and in the last one there is 56 because the avatar is there. Now, out of the 5 perfect masters in each age, there is one who is topping the list of these 5. He is called a Kutubi Irshad. He is much higher than the other four other perfect masters. So, now what happens is, when the avatar comes, he has not gone through this whole evolutionary process or involution process. He is directly God become man. And when he comes, Baba says that the 5 perfect masters are non-functioning. Irwin said that Baba had explained to them this thing, that when the avatar is living, the 5 perfect masters are non-functioning. And even after the avatar drops his body, during the avataric period, that is 100 to 200 years, the perfect masters are non-functioning. No mention has been done about this in Baba books, but this is what Irwin says, that from his diaries he could tell us this. So remember that the perfect masters are absolutely non-functioning when the avatar comes. Now, even after the 100 or 200 years of the avataric period, that the 5 perfect masters take up the job of working until the last age. So Baba says even during that period, the 5 perfect masters are under the orders of the avatar, and they do exactly what the avatar wills. So finally we can say that the whole spiritual hierarchy is governed by the avatar himself. So therefore, if we have accepted Baba as the highest of the high, there is no one higher than Baba, we should have the conviction that Baba is God in human form. Now how can we have this conviction? This is also mentioned in God Speaks. There are several types of conviction. One is ilmul yakin. Ilmul yakin means by faith, by love, by visions, dreams, or experiences of Baba, we feel that Baba is God in human form. That is by our love and faith. Then Ainul Yakin, that is on the sixth plane when the person comes there, the pilgrim comes. By sight, he feels that he sees God everywhere and therefore he sees Baba as God. So that is by sight. Then Hakul Yakin, when he comes, the pilgrim comes on the seventh plane, he has become one with God and therefore he has become one with Baba and therefore he knows that Baba is God. And then the fourth one is Urful Yakin. When he becomes a perfect master or a salik, he uses his power, knowledge and bliss and he knows now that Baba is God. So these are the four types of convictions that we should have for Baba and accept Baba as the avatar of this age. Now we come to what is called the veil. What is this veil? There is a chapter in God Speaks called the Sevenfold Veil. The apparent separation between man and God is referred to by the perfect masters in terms of a veil or a curtain or a gungat. So the veil consists, this is the veil separates us from God. So the veil, Baba says, consists of 7 folds of 7 deep colors. And each fold has a knot. So the 7 folds have 7 knots. And the 7 colors represent the 7 root desires like lust, greed, anger, etc. So, this veil consists of 7 folds. Each fold has got a knot, and each fold has got a color, and this color represents the root desires that man has got. Now, these desires are connected with the sensations in the face of the different openings in the face, like the mouth, the right nostril, the left nostril, the right ear, the left ear, the right eye, and the left eye. Soul is always God, but the false illusion begins with the descent of soul in the 7 material stages, and the real illusion ends with the ascent of soul to the 7th plane. Now what happens is that man, they say, is made in the image of God. So his head represents the Vijnan Bhumika, and the forehead is the entrance to divinity. The center of the forehead, just above the 2 external eyes, I've already told you that, is the seat of the 3rd eye. When the veil is removed, what happens to these folds? When the pilgrim comes on the 1st plane, then the 1st fold is removed, the 1st knot is untied, the sanskaras are removed, the 1st color is removed, and the entrance through the 1st door, that is the mouth, towards God, is taken by the pilgrim. Then, so this is the 1st fold of the veil. Then, when the pilgrim progresses to the 2nd and the 3rd planes, then he has removed the 2nd and the 3rd folds, he has opened up the 2nd and the 3rd knots, then the 2nd and the 3rd colors are removed, the impressions are cut, and passing through the 2nd and the 3rd doors represents the right and the left nostril. Arriving on the 4th plane means the 4th and the 5th folds are removed, the 4th and the 5th knots are untied, the 4th and the 5th root desires vanish, impressions are removed, and the 4th and the 5th doors represented are the right and the left ear, through which the pilgrim passes. Then he comes on to the 5th plane, and the 5th plane means that the 6th and the 7th fold are removed, the 6th and the 7th knots are untied, the 6th and the 7th desires are removed, the sanskaras diminish, and the pilgrim passes through the 6th and the 7th doors, namely the right and the left eye. If the pilgrim now advances to the 6th plane, the plane of divine sight, then he passes through the entrance to divinity represented by the forehead. The veil is now completely removed. On the 6th plane, the veil is removed. Yet, there is the difference between the seer and the seen. And between these two there is a fathomless valley. Between the lover and the beloved there is a huge valley. And only the perfect master can help you to span that valley. So on the seventh plane, the individual merges into God, becomes God for all times. The folds, the veil, and the valley of separation are all in the domain of ignorance, and a perfect master can give you God realization in the twinkling of an eye. Now, we are talking about aura and halo. What is an aura and what is a halo? Baba says that an aura is a magnetic field 3 to 4 feet on all sides of the body of a person, and it looks like a fountain of water which rises and falls, and this fountain has different colors. Now, these colors are according to the sanskars of the person, and accordingly one can tell by seeing the aura what sort of a person he is. Baba has explained the different colors, that if the aura is a rosy pink, it means the person has a lot of love in him. If it is blue, the person is a spiritual person. If it is green or gold, then he is an intellectual person. If it is dark red, the person has a bad temper. And if it is brown, then the person is very moody and lethargic. Sanskaras are reflected in the aura, and as the pilgrim advances on the path, this aura slowly changes into the halo. Halo is a bright light around the person, and on the sixth plane the halo is very bright. On the seventh plane there is no aura or halo. Why? Because the aura and the halo are only the reflections of your sanskaras. And since there are no sanskaras on the seventh plane, we have already talked about that the mano nashakas on the seventh plane, and therefore there are no sanskaras. And therefore there is no aura or halo on the seventh plane. But the perfect master has a very bright halo. I remember once in Guru Prasad, one man wanted to talk to Baba during the darshan period, and he got into the queue, and as he was walking towards Baba, he was wondering what Baba would talk to him and what he would talk to Baba. But unfortunately it so happened that when he came in front of Baba, Baba turned to the left and began talking to air something. And the man took Baba's darshan and was pushed away by the others behind him, and so he got no chance to talk to Baba or Baba to talk to him. He felt very dejected, and he got into the queue again. After several hours of waiting, he came in front of Baba, and just at that time Baba again talked to Erch and gave him some instructions to go into the other room and bring something, and so this man never got a chance to talk to Baba, or Baba could talk to him. Well, that darshan program finished, and in the afternoon, after the whole program was over, Baba asked Erch, how did the program go? Now, after the program, it seems that this man came to Erch crying and saying that Baba did not give me a chance to talk to him, nor that that he should talk to me. So he said that tomorrow you can come again, and when you come and you are just 1 or 2 persons away from Baba, you raise your hand so that I will know that you are there in the queue, and then I will tell Baba about you. So he felt very happy about it, and he went away home, and the next day he was again in the queue, thinking that he would talk to Baba. When he was about 2 people away from Baba in the queue, he raised his hand and drew Erich's attention. Well, Erich said, "Yes, I remember." But when he came in front of Baba, Baba began talking to somebody else, and this man got pushed away for the 3rd time. Now this time he began to cry, and he felt very, very depressed about it. So after the program was over, he went to Erich and told Erich about the whole thing. So after that, Baba asked Erich, how did the program go? He said, "Baba, everybody felt happy excepting one man. And that man," and then he repeated that he came 3 times in front of you, but he never got a chance to talk to you or that you could talk to him. So Baba said, "I don't have to look at the person. I look at his halo and at his aura. And from that I can tell what sort of a person he is. And that man who is posing to be a great lover and a very sincere devotee of God is really not as good as he is posing, and therefore Baba had not paid attention to him." So from an aura or a halo, the perfect master of the avatar can tell who that person is and whether he is really spiritually advanced. We have finished almost every subject of God Speaks, but now there is only one thing that I would like to tell you is the practical aspects of God Speaks. After we have read God Speaks and tried to understand it, how do we apply God Speaks in our daily lives? What help will God Speaks give to us during our daily lives? So, I've got here several points how God Speaks should be applied in our daily lives. The first point is, you have already been told that the creation is the outcome of the original nothing, which became this nothingness. And therefore, since the nothing is nothing, therefore this whole creation is a big zero. I've already told you about Francis dreaming in the Mandali hall. So Baba says, it is a dream inside a dream. You're dreaming in this world. Though you're awake, you're still dreaming. And you've got to become supra-awake in order to know that this itself, though you're awake, it's a dream state. So on the 7th plane, when the Mahachaitanya comes, all joys and suffering, everything disappears, and this whole dream is over. Baba said that a man in the beyond or a man in the deep sleep state can be compared to God in the beyond state. I've already told you that. And then he starts dreaming, and he becomes the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer of his own dream. So, the whole universe, the whole life of everyone is just a big dream. It's the dream of God, and dream of God. God is dreaming that he is becoming a stone, a metal, a vegetable, a fish, a bird, or animal, or whatever it is, or man. So therefore Baba says, now that you know that this whole world is a dream, why do you worry? Be happy. In illusion, there is no time and space. Baba always says that God is beyond time and space. But we as Baba lovers should observe time and space. Above all these, and he says, I will break my silence on such and such a date, and it doesn't happen on that particular date, then we feel that Baba didn't speak the truth. But actually it means that when Baba speaks from that level of the Vijnan Bhumika, the time factor is completely different from our gross world, and therefore we try to interpret that saying or whatever he has said from our gross world, and therefore the time factor can never be the same. So remember, the first thing that we have learned from God Speaks is that the whole creation has come out of the nothing, and therefore one should not worry and be happy always. The second thing that we have learnt is births and deaths are all due to sanskaras. The sanskaras of the ape form give rise to the first human being. Then the sanskaras gained in the first human form are experienced in the second human form. And this goes on and on and on. So, the whole world is built up because of sanskaras. Now, when a person dies, we feel very sorry about it. And when somebody is born, we feel very elated about it. As I've already told you, the death of the person normally doesn't give rise to the sorrow, but it's because of our selfish motives connected with that person that gives us sorrow. I remember once when Baba's elder brother Jamshed died, and the news came to Meherabad that Jamshed had died. Baba distributed sweets to everyone. When Shirinmai, his mother, came to know about this, she was very furious about it. And when she came to Meherabad, she asked Baba why Baba had distributed sweets when his own brother Jamshed had died. So Baba said that Jamshed is now enjoying eternal bliss, and if you had to know the joy in which he is at present, you would also not only distribute sweets, but much more than that. Of course, his mother never understood anything what Baba was saying, but what is important from this is that we should not give importance to births and deaths. This is what we have learned from God Speaks. When there is a birth in the family, especially of a boy, one should not get elated. When there is the death of anyone in the family, one should not feel depressed. The third thing that we have learned from God Speaks is that hell and heaven are not places. Today, many feel that after death, if they have done bad deeds over here, they will go into the hell, and for all times they'll have to stay there. And if they have done good deeds, they'll go to heaven and they'll have to stay there for all times. This is absolutely false. No one stays in the hell or the heaven state permanently. They have to come back again over here when there is an almost balancing of the good and the bad sanskaras. Yes, if your bad sanskaras are more, you will suffer in the hell state. And if your good sanskaras are more, you will enjoy in the heaven state. But nobody stays there permanently. Many religions, they frighten the people saying that if you do bad deeds, you'll go into hell for all time. So God is not to be feared, and God is to be loved. So love God because He is the embodiment of love. And don't fear God. It's the fear of hell and the suffering of hell that makes one feel that he should not do bad deeds. But if one realizes that God Himself is love, then there is no fear of God. So don't be God-fearing, but be God-loving. And know that hell and heaven are not permanent places, but they are states of suffering or joy of the disincarnate soul. The fourth thing that we learn from God Speaks is that don't be carried away by the miracles of people. If in your town somebody comes and performs a small miracle, people will rush to him thinking he's a perfect master. Actually, people on the first or the second or the third planes can also perform miracles. And even those who are not on the path, that is on the planes, like the tantrics, they also can perform miracles. So, don't get led away by miracles and don't think the person is a perfect master. So, what we have learnt is that miracles is not the criterion for spirituality. The fifth thing that we learned is don't call anybody mad on the road. If you see a mad person, somebody who is looks like a mad person, we might say he's mad. Baba says, don't call anybody mad, because you don't know. He might be a God-intoxicated person. A God-intoxicated person is a must. A must. Who is a must? There is a whole book called the Wayfarers, in which is a beautiful description about Baba's travels all over India, searching for these musts and sitting with them and awakening them to the goal of life. Baba used to travel by a bus called the Blue Bus all over India, searching for these musts under very trying circumstances, the heat, the rain, and the bad roads. And Baba has traveled thousands of miles trying to contact these mad and these musts. So the must has become like a madman, but the cause of it is different. The madman has become mad because of social or economic circumstances, while the must has become mad because of his intense love for God. So, when you see a mad person on the road, never say that he is mad, because he may be a must. Now, who are these musts? These are pilgrims who are passing through the plains, and they get stuck in the heavens. Usually, they get stuck in the 14 bylanes of each heaven. So before they can reach the plane, the next plane, they get so intoxicated with the beautiful things that they see, the beautiful things that they hear, and the beautiful sense, that they get lost in these 14 bylanes of the heaven of that plane. And then they have no consciousness of their body, their mind, nothing at all. And then Baba has to go around India searching for such people and awakening them. What and how Baba used to awaken them, no man has seen. Because Baba would always sit with these people in a closed room. After giving the master a good bath and good clothes, he would sit with him in a closed room, and with his powers, or whatever it is, with his silence, he would awaken them so that they'd get up from those pleasures of the heavens in which they are stuck and go further on the spiritual path. So, if you see a mad person on the road, don't call him mad. Just say, leave him alone. I remember once in London, I had seen one on Baker Street. I was going to hospital in a double-decker, and from the top I saw one man. He was dressed in very shabby clothes, and he had a big beard and a moustache, and his clothes were very dirty. And the first thought that came to me was, either this man is a madman, he's an alcoholic, or he's a must. Well, the bus passed away, and I never thought of him another time. But a couple of days later, it was sunset time, and I was returning from hospital, and this was far away from Baker Street where I had seen him. I was very near my hostel, and all of a sudden, from a small side lane, this same man comes in front of me, and he puts his hand in front of my face and moves his fingers for a couple of seconds and then just walks away. And I knew that this man must be a must, because he recognized me to be a lover of Meher Baba. So now the sixth thing that we have learned from that a perfect master, after he drops his body, he becomes non-conscious. At that time, when I would leave on a Sunday evening back for Navsari, Baba would tell me, I am the only reality and all else is illusion. And I would say, yes, Baba, and then I would leave. For 3 months, Baba said the same sentence whenever I was leaving on Sunday evening. Now, the last Sunday, and that is the last darshan at Guru Prasad, and when I was leaving, naturally, there was terrible sorrow in my heart, because to leave Baba and go away after 3 months is really heart-rending. It's only those who have experienced this love of Baba they will feel the pinch of it, the pangs of separation from Baba. So on that last Sunday, I knew that I wouldn't be able to see Baba for a long time now, and I was really crying within. Baba had always said, never cry outside externally, never shed tears externally, and show your love for me to other people. Cry within. So I was crying within, and when I went to meet Baba, Baba said, instead of saying that sentence, I am the only reality and all else is illusion, Baba said, do you remember all that I've told you during these 3 months? And my mind had become completely blank. I was crying. And so I just said, yes, Baba. And yet my mind didn't register what Baba wanted to say. So Baba embraced me and I got up to go. And as I was going to the door, immediately that thought came in my mind that Baba is the only reality and all else is illusion. So we have learned this from God Speaks also now, that the whole world is an illusion and Baba is the only reality. So we should stick to Baba and nothing else. Give no importance to the world, only one importance, and that is to Baba. The 10th point and the last point that we have learned from God Speaks is that now we know that all souls are one, and that all souls are nothing but the Oversoul, that is God Himself. So we should never try to hate anyone, never try to ridicule anybody, never hurt the feelings of anyone, never try to slap anyone, never do anything that will cause pain to the other person. This is only possible when we begin to realize that all souls are one, that we are all different bubbles. The soul or the drop soul is the same in all of us, and yet the bubbles are different. And when the bubbles fight with each other and quarrel with each other, then it's really, for Baba, it's a big amusement, because we as bubbles think we are different from the others, and therefore we fight with others, we ridicule others, we hurt the feelings of others. So Baba says that it's not only for human beings, but even for animate and inanimate things. We should have the same love, feeling that they are all drop souls, only the bubbles, the different forms are different. So, if we have this feeling, from God Speaks we've learned this, that all the bubbles are one, and it's very, very easy for the bubble to burst. And then one can realize that the soul is the same in everyone. So, as far as we are concerned, we should never try to hurt the feelings of anyone. I remember when my wife went to see Baba for the first time, and Baba said, ask for any question you want to. And she said, but why do Baba lovers fight among themselves? This was the first time that she met Baba and the last time. She asked, why do Baba lovers fight amongst themselves? And Baba said, oh, that's an old story. Even when I was Christ, my apostles, the 12 apostles, were fighting with each other. The reason is that each apostle or each lover feels that he loves Baba much more than the other, and therefore whatever he says, everybody should do, and that everybody should obey him. So he has that superiority complex, and therefore he feels that he should boss over everybody, and that's what causes all the trouble. So Baba said, even when I was Christ, Peter, he felt that he was the top among the 12 apostles, and therefore he would boss over the others, and then there would be always quarrels. So Baba said, it's always because we feel that we love Baba much more than the others that these quarrels come. But then Baba said, if you can stick on to my Dharma till the very end, don't worry, all these things will disappear, and I'll see that each one begins to love the other. Now, we, as Baba lovers, what should we do in this world? Really, what should we do in this world? So Baba had once said in the Merazad Hall that I have given orders to some people. Like me, I've got several orders. But there are many, many people who have never met Baba and who have never seen Baba, and they have never had any orders from Baba. So, what should we people or those people do who have never met Baba? Then these people, Baba says, that 3 things you should do. 1, never do anything that you would hesitate to do in my presence. Feel that Baba is God and He is always present near you. So don't do anything that you would hesitate to do in Baba's presence. The next thing is, don't think of anything that you would hesitate to think in front of me. Because in front of Baba, if you had to have any other peculiar thought, immediately Baba would catch you and ask you, what are you thinking about? So feel that Baba is always with you, in you, and then never think of things that you would really not want to think in front of Baba. And never speak, that's the third thing, never speak of anything that you would hesitate to speak in the presence of Baba. So these are the 3 golden rules that we should observe as Baba lovers. And never speak, never, think, and never do things which we would hesitate to do if Baba was present with us. So now, Baba lovers, it's high time that we close up this talk on God Speaks. We have learned so many things from God Speaks. We should try to put that into our practice. And just before I close, I would like to reminisce about a couple of things about God Speaks. Once in 1957, this was in Bombay at Hasman Hall, and there was a Qawwali program, and there were many Baba lovers, intimate Baba lovers sitting over there, and all of a sudden, while the Qawwali program was going on, Baba stopped the Qawwal and then he asked everybody, who has read God Speaks? So not one person raised his hand excepting me. And Baba says, what? You're all my intimate lovers and no one has read God Speaks? So everybody said, Baba, we tried but we couldn't understand anything in God Speaks. So Baba says, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't read God Speaks. All what is important is that you should love me, look at me and think of me. That's all that is more important than God Speaks. But yet I know of certain instances when some intellectual people, Baba lovers, would come to Baba and Baba would say that, have you read God Speaks? He'd say no. So he said, read it 3 times. To another he had said, read it 7 times. I'm sure that Baba lover has not read it 7 times till now. And then to another person he had said, read God Speaks. And that man said, Baba, I've never read English. I don't know English. How can I read it? So Baba says, all right, put the book under your pillow and go to sleep. So till now, this man is putting the God Speaks under his pillow and sleeping. So these are just a few instances I remember, and there are many, many other things. So now it's Jai Baba to all of you. And if there are any questions you would like to ask about this cassette, please write to me. And really, on reading God Speaks, one feels that no one but God in human form could have written this book. And Baba is actually God in human form. So we should all love Him and serve Him. And till our last breath, we should not forget that Baba is God in human form. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.